Nancy, when people come to you, have they already made up their mind? Like, sometimes are they on the fence when they come to you, and then they're like, oh, like this might actually be better for me, and then they make the move. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'll tell you that. I mean, okay, so yes, of course, there are people that come to me and they say, just like we talked about before, I just want information. I'm not really sure where I'm going,
Right.
and I give them that information. But for example, I'm very happy in my marriage and I'm very vocal about it. My husband, I think he's the hottest guy in the world. I think he's the most wonderful man on earth. I love him. I've loved him since the beginning. I'm not letting him go. So there's no reason that I would explore options as to if we broke up, what would happen. And I think that when you're doing that, when you dip your toe in that water, you already know that it's over. You in your mind have just decided that either you're going to stick around for the kids or maybe you have a trip planned to Hawaii next year. I'm not being judgmental or even saying like that's a bad thing.
Yeah.
Everybody's life operates differently, and not everyone is lucky enough to have married someone that they really like. So, to love somebody and to like someone is two different things.
Is your husband scared of you?
No. My husband's a divorce attorney too, believe it or not.
Oh my God. These kids are living the life of luxury. There you go. Oh, it's like, could you imagine? Like, I feel like Denny would be shook if I was a divorce attorney.
But that's why they're like, we got to make sure about this because I'm a divorce attorney and you're a divorce attorney, and that's just gonna go crazy.
But I think, and he says this all the time, I think that one of the reasons that it works for us is because like we don't say the D word, we don't threaten it. Like I know people that they threaten divorce, like it's like not a big deal.
Right.
Let me tell you, it is a very big deal. So you asked a question about, are there certain instances where people come and see me and they decide to get divorced because they saw me? Well, again, I really think that I don't break up relationships. So I just give them the facts of how their case is probably going to resolve. 9 times out of 10, you're not going to do better divorce than you are married because 101 pennies don't come from a dollar. So unless you're living high off the hog and you guys have millions to throw around and you're not getting your fair share during the course of the marriage, the chances are you're not going to wind up with more in the course of divorce, right?
Right.
I feel like most people stay together through divorce, which is what takes so long because of the kids, because they're so back and forth. And they're like, let's keep trying to work it out and that whole thing. And then it just gets to a point where it gets ugly because they force themselves to stay in it for so long. And then they're like, we should have just done this from the beginning when we saw the problems arising.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think that before I had kids, I didn't understand why people would stay in an unhappy situation because of kids. But I know, Tracy, you have kids. I've heard from your past.
3.
I'm a fan. And
Thank
for
you.
your past podcast. And so, like, my husband and I discussed this before we had kids. And I said, listen, bud, if we ever get divorced, you're staying in the freaking basement for Thanksgiving and Christmas because my kids aren't sleeping outside my house. So you better get right with that.
Oh, yeah.
And that's funny and cute to say,
Oh,
but
God.
when you have kids, you realize that like you're looking at them eat cereal in the morning and my kid's dropping Cheerios all over the floor. I'm like, I'm going to kill you. And then I think to myself, if I couldn't watch him eat Cheerios, I'd be so devastated because he was at his dad's house 3 days a week,
Yeah.
So they're only little for a little bit of time. And
Nance, has that changed has that changed your having children? Has it changed like your be like the way you work? Like you realize how important it is for the mother to be with the children, or what I mean, for families to work it out and co-parent. You know what I mean? Like now you have a new kind of point of view on the whole thing. Maybe not as like, I don't want to say cold, but like I think a lawyer cold. You know what I mean? Yeah, removed. There you go.
About it, absolutely. Like for example, I remember I had a woman years ago come into my office and she was crying and she's like, because I said to her, I said, listen, at the end of the day, unless dad's like, a pedophile in jail, he's going to get parenting time with your kid.
Right.
So get right with it. I said, every other weekend, go get a pedicure, take a shower with anyone screaming at you. What are you crying about? And she's like, you don't understand. I said, I guess I don't, but you need to get right with it. And now, while I still would like to take a shower with no one screaming at me, I realize that when as a mom in an intact family, me and my husband are constantly like, oh, let's get a babysitter and try to go out for a date night. And, we try to do it once a month. And when we do, it's such an incredible experience for us. But we're doing it because we know that we can go home and spend time with our kids together whenever. The idea that, and I don't think anyone can wrap their head around this unless they're in it,
Yeah.
the idea that you have this child, it's your child that you're responsible for, and you can't be with them 24 hours a day or when you want to is insane.
It's insane to
and
think
it's
about.
really
Yeah.
upsetting.
Yeah.
So, and it's for both moms and dads. It's not just moms. I know a lot of incredible dads that their kids are the center of their universe, and it's the same for them too.
I mean, yeah, it's tough. It's a tough subject to even discuss. Like I don't even know how you do it every day. It's crazy, but it must feel good to help people, and like it's kind of like you're giving people a do-over on their lives. Like they get to start over, and
Yes.
So are there any situations that you've come in contact with that like you were just saying, like that you're sleeping on the couch for Thanksgiving, like that people get divorced and are still able to live under the same roof for the kids so that they both can see the kids all the time? Or is that not something that you've ever...
There are absolutely circumstances, and I know the circumstances are that, there are certain people that when they're getting divorced, they're so hurt. And there are different levels of it's really a grief. Like getting a divorce is the death of a unit, the marital unit, and there's a lot of books on it that I've read and a lot of research to be conducted on it. But, when you're married, you are a couple, and then it's called uncoupling when you get divorced. So you're grieving the loss of that relationship.
Uncoupling.
Uncoupling is a good word. Yeah.
Even if it was a really crappy relationship, you're still grieving that process, right? Because, especially in our culture, like the hype up to getting married, it's hundreds of thousands of dollars, and it takes just as long, a year to plan a wedding and all that other crap. So it's a very emotional process. So there are people that are at different levels of grief or different levels of that process.
Mm-hmm.
When the emotions are high, it's difficult for people to take a step back and see the forest through the trees and say to themselves, okay, at the end of this, I have a child, and I'm going to be, whether I'm married to this person or not, my significant other, the other parent, is going to be in my life forever. Because God willing, your kid's going to give you grandchildren, and they're not going to have 2 first birthdays for your grandchild so that the 2 of you idiots can come to theirs. You're going to go to their weddings. You're going to go to their soccer games.
Right.
And at the end of the day, you have to come to grips. And I tell my clients this all the time. You have to get to the point where you can move forward in that regard.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you are actually over someone, then you can realize, well, I'm not going to miss my kid's wedding, so I don't have to see this dipshit. Like I'm going to get over it. I'm going to move on. I'm going to be a woman. And most people can get there on their own. The only, the problem that I have, and it does not happen mostly with my clients, and that's when people hate the other person more than they love their kids. And it hasn't happened a lot with my clients, but that's the thing.
That would be me.
You just have to focus on it.
Jessica said that would be me.
No, I already know, that would be me. If my husband, stepped outside the marriage, he's toast for the rest of my life. I don't know how people do it. I guess I don't have kids. I can't understand it. But, and that's why I admire people who do it, because it must be so fucking hard because you want to murder that person.
Well, yeah, but, I think that's where I step in, because in that situation, God forbid that happened to you. So my position would be, okay, he stepped out of the marriage, so he ruined your trust, and he ruined your relationship in your eyes, and it's over, and now you have to get divorced. But don't let him ruin your kid's life, and don't let him ruin your ability to enjoy your child. So, at that point, it's really just changing the perspective on it. Am I going to let this son of a bitch cheat on me and then fuck up my whole life? No, I'm not.
Wow, it's like divorce attorney / therapist in one. I like it.
So much. I tell people all the time, they come in here, I'm like, I'm not your Girl Scout leader, and they're in-network professionals that are a lot cheaper. So take that and, get a bottle of Arbor Mist or something, go talk to your girl.
Arbor Mist. No, she didn't.
Wow, what a throwback. Yeah. Look, even the lawyers are drinking Arbor Mist. Come on.
Oh, please. No, I'm not.
Don't forget, guys, new clips air every Thursday. So see you next Thursday.
hosted on dimlywit.com.
Even though we are not your best examples,
We're the best you've got.
so cheers, bitches.
Cheers. Make sure you subscribe to our channel for updates, and if you like this clip, share it with a friend.